Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Hello, creative ones. It's Melissa D'Antoni. I'm here live in my studio. Had a really full day so far, and I felt really moved to talk a little bit more about shame and the hey Lavender. Yeah, if you're here, say hello. Hey, Scott McLean. Hey, guys. Please say hello, and if this resonates for you, please feel free to chime in or ask questions, post your comments. I felt called today, and actually I have been for a while, to talk a little bit more about shame because it seems to be coming up big time for everyone, including myself. And it's funny, even getting ready to go live with you all today, which I actually really love. I look forward to doing this. I have a stream of consciousness constantly, just like what can I share? What can I talk about? And I've been kind of journaling a little bit around shame because shame is probably one of the most, it's heavy. It's heavy, but Lavender, we can be really playful about it, and we can, and the more playful and light we are with it, and the more direct we are with it, and honest, we can shift it really quickly. So I want to talk about that. Hey, Matthew. Curran, what's up? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this. And please, if you're watching live, even later on, say hello. Don't just be a voyeur. Like, chime in the conversation. Let me know your thoughts. This is why I do these things, is to connect with all of you and to have a bigger conversation. So breaking the cycle of shame. So I want to talk a little bit about what shame is, how I see shame, and how we can work with it individually, and how also how destructive it can be, and what creates shame, and how ways that we can transmute it that are quick, easy, fun, playful, and oh yeah, shame on you, Lavender. That's a big one. Or shoulda. That has a lot of shame in it too. I mean, shame. Let's talk about it. Shame is deeply unconscious. Like, it is so pervasive in our culture that it's deeply unconscious. We have to be very mindful and self-aware and emotionally in tune to know what shame, right, feels like, to know what it is, and to be really present in our bodies, to be aware of it, as an energy in itself, right? Because shame is an emotion. It's an energy in motion, and it has thoughts and feelings associated with it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So breaking the cycle of shame, shame is deeply unconscious, and it really requires a level of willingness and heart and compassion to really dive into being aware about it and to do something with it, right? It's so repressive. I mean, shame in itself is a darker, and like Lavender was saying, a heavier emotion, right? It's heavy, it's dense. And the reason is shame is a result of trauma. And like I was saying in my last video, trauma is pervasive, right? We live in a trauma-based culture. You can just turn on the news and have trauma from watching the news, right? It's an aggressive energy. It's also a response to trauma. And so, the way that we can break the cycles of abuse, of violence that we are seeing so aggressively in the world today, is because it's really time that we take personal responsibility of the energy of shame, the emotion of shame, how we carry shame, how we dish it out unconsciously, consciously, how we use shame, and also how we can be conscious creators and really be mindful of our own energy and the energy that we bring into a space, so that we can be the change by breaking those cycles. Hey, Walter. Hey, Lee. Y'all say hello. Let me know that you're here. I'd love to hear from you, and if this resonates. So what are the ways that you can do? Okay, so before I go into to different ways to work with shame, I want to talk about the difference between shame and guilt. So guilt, and Brene Brown talks about this too, and of course I love all of her work that she's done and all of her research on shame. But guilt is like, you know, feeling bad because you've done something bad. And there's certainly a healthy sense of guilt when you're like, ooh, that didn't work out so well. I'm not going to do that again, or I shouldn't have done that. And you know, make apology and, you know, put the correction in, right? Shame is I am bad. It's the feeling of I am bad, or unworthy, or have no value, or I'm dirty. All of these are trauma responses and belief systems and programming that gets created around abuse, around violence, around trauma. So if we want to break the cycle of shame and abuse and violence in our world, we have to work with the energy of shame. Now, you may be sitting there thinking like, I don't have shame. Bullshit. Everybody has shame. It is, again, like I said, pervasive. It's cultural. And it's like it's an energy, and it's almost like it's a response. You know, there's probably, I'd love to work with and I might do this with one of my friends who's a scientist, who's a physicist. I'd love to see the sort of energetic patterning of that kind of an emotional response, because it is a energetic flow and energetic patterning, right? You can break that cycle, and I'm going to show you how. It's really easy, and we might even do some art around it too. So if you're wanting to play with it and just work with whatever comes up, if you want to work with and surface, you know, with anything that might come up for you, you know, I will give you some tools and guide you through, you know, a safe way of processing it so that you can transmute it into reclaiming your life force back, reclaiming your creativity, reclaiming your own, your true self, your own sense of worth and value and expression. So number one, you've got to express it. So if you're holding any kind of shame-based trauma in your body or negative emotion, and and you know how this shows up. It's like, you know, it's just part of the human experience, I feel like. It shows up as wanting to be invisible, not wanting to speak up, wanting to stay silent, not wanting to honor your own needs, ask for what you need, not asking for support. I mean, there's just so many ways that this can come up, and let me know if this resonates for you. But the first thing that we have to do is we have to release it. We have to have a physical, somatic expression of it, because it is energetic and it's typically trapped in the body and actually in all areas of our being. So our body, our mind, right? Our belief systems, our emotions, our feeling body, our emotional body, our physical body, because we store trauma in the body. And when it doesn't get expressed, when that shame, right? When you're carrying all of that in your physical body, emotionally, energetically, it becomes stagnant, and it creates disease. So, you know, the quickest way to release that is finding some kind of physical, emotional, energetic, and mental expression, which is why I love painting for this, because it's quick, it's playful, it's not quite as heavy, right? And you can, you know, really you can feel it, you know, the release is immediate, you know. I mean, people come into my studio and it's like, you know, those of you that have painted with me before, you know, you can have an immediate response, an immediate feeling of connection and release. Because shame is like a dark cloud, and it keeps us quiet. It keeps us from not living fully. It keeps us silent. It keeps us, you know, from living our full lives. And that's a problem. You know, and I just see it so much. I get so passionate about this. And in my own life too. I see the pain that it causes people, and the way that so many people in our culture and our society, modern day society, stay quiet and stay suffering when there's so many tools now and ways to express it, where you don't have to carry that anymore, right? You can break the cycle. And when you break the cycle for yourself, you do it for your family, you do it for your whole lineage, you do it for your children, you do it for your community, and you do it for the world. Because if you're no longer carrying that shame, then you know, it gets cleared and transmuted into something much higher. Because shame is really the emotion under abuse, you know, it's the feeling of shame. So it's really, really important that we all address that, you know. And it's not just some people, it's everyone. I want you to really take that in. It's not just some of us, it's all of us. We live in a, you know, environment of abuse. All of us. That's how serious this has to get for people, for each one of us. You know, we can't just sit here and be like, it's somebody else's problem, or oh, that doesn't happen to me, or I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Da, da, da. It's like, it's a little late for that. We all have to take personal responsibility to transform our own shame and take responsibility for bringing it into consciousness and to lighten our load, right? We can create so much more from that place. So it's like a dark cloud, and if you don't transmute it, it really, and bring it into the light, it kind of festers, and that's where disease is created. You might have seen my video that I did last fall when I went into the prison here in Lockhart, Texas, with women and worked with women, and we painted. They got to paint and release their shame. And I tell you, you think it's going to be super heavy and dark and all of this, and it wasn't at all. These women lit up like Christmas trees. It was so light. It was so, there was so much joy, and it's because they weren't hiding anymore. And they were telling their stories, and they were finding a voice, and they were sharing it and releasing it, so they didn't have to carry it in their bodies anymore. And they felt the immediate release of that. Super powerful. Number two is, you know, you can find out, you can know when shame is being used as like weaponry or with ill intent, and you can amp up your own, you find ways to protect yourself, right? How do you do that? You know, compassion, drop into the heart. If you know somebody is trying to shame you into something, or using it as a manipulation tool, you know, just beam them back some love, you know, and detach and let go, right? It's not yours to manage, and at the same time you don't have to plug into it either. Yeah. So another anecdote to that is know your own value, know your own knowing and what's yours and what isn't yours, and also, you know, trust that compassion, you know, kills shame. It really does, because any kind of love, or when you drop into the heart, you know, it's actually very powerful practice. And maybe you can even just feel that right now and just drop into your heart. Even just sending almost like a prayer, just sending out love from your heart to anyone that may be suffering, and that may be you, and, you know, or someone you know, from shame. We've got to be more conscious with our energy. So powerful, right? Does this resonate with you all? It's kind of random, but I just felt inspired to, not random, but to talk about it today. You know, I was working with someone earlier, and it's like, you know, I see so many people hiding from the world, from not sharing their gifts, because they have this, you know, belief, this completely toxic belief that they aren't worthy. And I've certainly been there too, you know. I think it's a bit of a rite of passage, but, you know, speak your truth. It's very freeing. So shame is also a blocking energy. It will block the good from coming to you. It will block money. It will block resources, opportunities, love, relationships. So important to really consciously clear any shame that we're carrying consciously or unconsciously, so that it frees us up to create the lives and the love that we want in the world. All right. Anyone else want to share anything? Say hello. I guess it was a heavy topic. Maybe we should paint. Okay, we'll do some quick painting, and then I've got to go pick up my daughter. All right, so I guess I'll just do it right here. So when you're wanting to work consciously with shame, and you can do this, like, it can be almost like a spiritual practice. You can do it in a journal. It doesn't have to be big like this. Although I think it's really great when you're working with a toxic emotion like shame, that you are going big, because that's what shame wants, to keep you small and hidden. So I just picked up black because, you know, it's like a dark cloud. So I'm going to close my eyes and just take a deep breath, and I'll invite you to join me. And I'm just going to scan my physical body for any feelings of shame or any kind of, I don't even have, you know, we don't even have to label it. It can just be like, you can just ask your body to show you where you may be carrying shame. And just feel into it. And then just give it an expression, see how it wants to move, and just consciously, when you're painting, intend to release it. That's all you need. It's really pretty quick. For some reason, I feel it in my legs right now. I don't know why. Down on my feet. It's interesting to me, and I'm not really thinking about it. But I kind of just drew some jail bars. It's funny. So I just went into my body, and this is the expression that wanted to come through, the movement, right? The gesture. And it kind of looks like a jail cell, like bars. Feeling trapped. That's what shame does, you know? It just traps you. And it keeps people stuck. It keeps us, like I said, quiet. And you know, I know it's not like super fun to talk about this, but it's so powerful once we do, you know? There's so much shame around. I'm just gonna throw some red on here. Maybe some anger. Could be some trauma. I don't know. I'm not even really gonna analyze it. I'm just gonna kind of go with it and into this is where it becomes lighter, right? As I'm just playing. I'm just letting my body move. I'm not trying to paint a painting. I'm just staying connected to the feeling. It's kind of fun. Okay, so yeah, that looks kind of intense and, you know, heavy. But now I want to bring in so I'm going to release all of that, any shame that I may be carrying, and just release any of that heavier feeling in my body. And I'm going to bring in some light. Just going to bring in connection and love, kind of the lightest source, however you relate to love, light, God, source. You know, I was just thinking about it. There's like shame around God and shame around so much trauma we have, right? God, what are the things that are most shaming for people? Like money and sex and God. Those are the ones that come up when I think about that. And I tell you, I have an immediate shift. Feels like a lightning bolt. So just bring the light in, lighten it up. And do that in all areas of my body. And I'm just going to feel this light kind of come into my body, into any places that I was feeling shame. And that's it. That's a quick clearing. Creative alchemy in 5 minutes or less. What do you think? I think shame can also come from, not from abuse, from an embarrassment of doing something wrong, inappropriate, or not well. Yeah, definitely. I think that can be, I think that's really a form of guilt. Lavender, in my experience, you know, it's, guilt is from doing, is more behavioral, right? And shame is more a belief about yourself overall. Hi, Susan. Hi, Eslam. Hey guys, does this resonate? So just a quick example. I mean, I didn't have any like massive shame I was clearing at the moment. Certainly have before, but you can just ask your body, if you know, to show you where you're holding shame, and it will come up, especially when you use it with the paint, because you're using a physical modality, right? You're in your body, and we store those belief systems. Actually, yes, they're connected to our programming and the neural pathways, but they're really in our muscles, in our DNA, and our genes. You know, and that gets passed down. So let me know what you think, and experiment with this. Try this at home. Make sure that you're in a safe environment. And if you want to work with me one-on-one in the studio, send me a private message. And then I also, if you have any shame around money and you're a creative woman in business and you want to liberate your voice and your relationship with money and rewrite your money story and kind of clear any shame that you have around making money or getting your gifts out into the world. And I have a mindset and energy course that starts next week where we're going to be studying the prosperity laws and really diving into your belief systems and any trauma that you have around money, where you want to up-level that, uproot it, clear it, in a really creative and fun and safe way with with a group of women. Then let me know. You can private message me. I'll put a link below as well. Lots of love to you. Hope you have a great evening. I'm off to pick up my daughter and go to South by Southwest to listen to some music here in Austin. So it's important too, when you do this work, that you don't stay stuck in your shame or your heavier emotions. It's really important. That's why I love art and using art to transform them, is because you can shift it and let it go. You don't have to stay stuck. People are so afraid to go into their emotions, and a lot of that's our conditioning because we believe that we will be overwhelmed by them. And we're actually overwhelmed by resisting them. It takes more energy to resist them than it actually does to express it and release it and in a healthy way and let it go. So, and that creates new neural pathways. It creates opening in the body. Trauma and creates a contraction on a cellular level. And when you do an alchemy process like this, and there's also some great other modalities, like I'm a huge fan of heliotropic breath work. It's a wonderful kind of quantum modality. Quantum freedom healing is wonderful too, by Melanie Tonia Evans, which is great for abuse. There's so many that are really starting to tap into the multidimensional levels of our experience and of our trauma. And so, you can move through it and transmute it rather quickly. Yeah. All right. Lots of love to you. Please write your comments. Please share this if you're inspired, or if you know someone who may benefit, and private message me if you would like to work with me one-on-one. Lots of love. Bye.